and take your coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee break with me. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee. Come and take your coffee break with me.
Welcome back to Coffee Break with Candace. We're so glad you're joining us this week. I have another amazing guest. I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell us more.
Hi, my name is Gwendolyn Wilson. I am affectionately known as a Turning Point Strategist. I'm a life and business coach, a speaker, heartfelt speaker, and an author. And I currently work with wonderful women who are sharp, savvy, intelligent, highly functional, and it actually are wonderful women that are building their own business. And as a result of what they do, I have found a way to actually utilize what I've gone through as being downsized and dealing with a loss of job, and finding that what we know, what we already know, our expertise, our talents, our education, our skill set, and all the things that you've acquired in your professional life are marketable. They're valuable. They're resourceful, and because you've made a living with it, you can also create a new life, a new business. So I found that from being downsized, that I was able to create a 4-step proprietary system: mindset, action, plan, and execution to teach other women.
You mentioned that this journey began as, in terms of becoming the Turning Point Strategist from being downsized. So tell us more about your journey and what you were doing prior to becoming the Turning Point Strategist.
Actually, quite an interesting journey. For over 25 years, I've served in many financial capacities. I worked for nonprofits, and all were international nonprofits throughout the United States. But the interesting part was that they were in Asia, Latin America, and Africa. And as a result of that, we actually taught and educated and created contracts for entrepreneurships throughout the world, and where they utilize whatever resources they had, they utilized their skill set. And so we taught them how to create and market their businesses. So throughout the world, we were dealing with small businesses, and I did small business development and financial planning. And so as a result of that, I got a great interest for entrepreneurship throughout the world, as well as businesses for ex-offenders. I had an opportunity to teach and re-educate, to reacclimate ex-offenders coming back into the work world. And so we thought that the best way to do that was to work with programs that would help them with small business development, because a lot of times there were difficulties getting jobs because of their previous record. So my background is finance and accounting. So also helping people to actually learn how to manage their funds and change their lifestyle as a result of learning how to be, I think every woman should actually learn how to become her own chief financial officer, because when you're going to build a business, not only do you want to manage what you have, but you also want to grow it, make it sustainable, and also build wealth.
How do you, go from being downsized to creating a business, and what was that process for you?
The process it started off really, it's so funny when you're thinking that everything is, especially when we plan out our lives. We plan our lives and we think everything is going well, and then there's this huge bump in the road. And for me, it happened twice. And I think the second time was probably the most challenging and difficult, because at that time, I was working on my master's, and had just recently found out this one was just so emotional because I found out that my mom on that Monday, that weekend actually, in May, and my birthday was in May, so it was like a couple of days before my birthday, that my mom had terminal cancer. And then I go into the office the next day and find out that I'm being downsized. So you can imagine with all of that going on in your head, you're trying to regroup and think about what it is. And so at the time, my mom was my major concern. And so actually just going through that process, and that was extremely, again, I said, very emotional, that I, had to overcome some emotional obstacles, not only losing your job, but at the same time, you're losing your mom. And my mom passed in less than 2 months. So it was really, really fast. And so it took me a minute because I had to grieve. And at the same time, you're thinking about your livelihood. And so I remember, once I decided just to kind of just give myself some space and some time, I came back and decided, that I'm looking at loss of income. I'm a little frustrated. You look at your savings, they're being depleted. No fault of your own. It impacts your self-esteem, your finances, and the loss is real. Losing a job, and no comparison to losing, your mom and losing, family, but the loss is real. And so you have to, so I was thinking, I kind of find a solution. And at this point, I'm thinking, I don't want to go back to another job. I wasn't in a place, and that was during a time of recession. And so, and working nonprofits a lot, funding is always, so you have funding, international funding. So you have a lot of variables that were going on at the time. And I remember at a moment I was feeling really sorry for myself. And then I realized, you know what? I'm too smart for this. I have options. I can, there are things that I can do. So what I needed to do was I realized that, my skill set, I had a very good skill set with the finance and the accounting and business development. I've, taught, so leadership training. And so I had this business development. And so I realized that I had a great skill set. And so the first thing that I did was I said, I'm going to start my own business. And one of the good things is whenever you're in an industry and you've built partnerships and networks, you have a source or some people you can actually touch base with. Well, one of the great things about if you worked well and you had good career growth and development, that you have people that you can tap into. And that's what I did. I went and I immediately talked to some partners, some employers, and of course, it made, your gifts make room for you. And so that opened doors for contracts and some opportunities for me to actually get started. And I tell you, I really have to tell you, I thought that this is the craziest thing that I ever did, just to actually just say, I'm not going for another job. I don't want to do this. I'm just going to, actually just launch out. And it actually was one of the most rewarding things that I had done, because it grew and it thrived so much faster than I expected. So in a period of less than a year, I made 6 figures.
Actually, that's really, really incredible.
It really was.
I mean, and tell us more about the ideal of the business. Like, how did you come up with this ideal, and why did you think it would work?
Well, one, because I had so much experience working with small businesses and small business development. And as a result of that, I think in my book, I wrote a book about Turning Point, Jumpstarting Your Business. And as a result of that, I knew that all my life, the quote in my book is, as long as I can remember, there was a businesswoman inside of me. So I remember growing up and not having role models or people that had their own business. So there was no template or anyone that I knew, but I knew that I always wanted my own business. And I had a friend that we've been friends for over 40 years since school, elementary school, and we always talked about it, but we never had someone to actually help support that dream, or, any guidelines, any templates, any role models. And so when I thought about doing it, I just said, I knew I did not want to go back to another job. And just the thought of thinking, oh, you work for a lot of nonprofits, some government fundings, the possibilities of them selling and merging could happen again. And I just the thought of that was not appealing at all. And so I knew that I had to do something different. And once I started contacting supervisors and partners, and there was so much work, I actually had one employee for a good while. And so that was actually impressive too, because I just didn't know how big it would grow, what would happen. But I knew that I definitely had to do something. And so as a result of that, I created, in the midst of being downsized, I also wrote my book during the time that I wasn't working. So while I was, had given myself space for grieving over my mom, my younger sister helps people write books. And so she said, hey, why don't you write a book? You have so much information. You've been doing this for so long. And I was like, yeah. And so I decided to do it. Well, that actually helped me actually realize that, not only can you write this book, but you can actually create a valuable, profitable business. And so I wrote a book called Turning Point, Answering the Entrepreneur's Call.
Can we see the book?
Yes, 6 highly effective steps to jumpstart your business.
Wonderful. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. And so that was actually the beginning of, I think, one of the great things about Turning Point. I am a lover of transformation and change, and I always have been. My master's is in strategic management and change and international change. So I love, it's something so fascinating about human nature and how we go through so many different things, turning points in our lives, pivotal moments. It doesn't matter what it is. I think that every part of who we are, what makes up our purpose and our power and our passion in life, comes from strategic periods in our lives where, whether it's painful or not, we actually generate and we recognize, we reveal who we are, who we should be, who we should serve, and how we work in this world to actually transform other people's lives. So I am so amazed at hearing people's stories and how they pivot through life, and whether it's life or death or any type of pain or loss of a child, that how people actually are able to use those stories to change and impact and add to other people's, to make a difference in someone else's life. So I think that when I was dealing with all of this, at the same time, I knew that there would be a way to actually utilize my story to actually support others. And that's basically what we do on a regular basis as people. Our story becomes somebody else's shortcut. For what you've learned, your story helps somebody to become a life learner, and they don't have to start from point A, because you've always found a way to make this a vital and an effective transition in your life where it speeds up their learning curve. And so I think that was one of the things that, because I always loved change, it made it easy once I got over, certain obstacles. And I always say obstacles because I think that there are 3 major obstacles that were for me that actually, and I think self is probably one of all of ours, that we have to deal with self and the voices that we hear in our head and controlling that mindset. And so whatever you're going to win, we have to always start with our mindset. And so that was a key focal point of getting that mindset. Okay, we're going to do this. It may be tough, no matter what. We just don't want another job. We're ready to move forward. And so those, getting that mindset straight. And then the next thing I did was action, taking a strategic action and looking and saying, you know what, I'm going to reverse engineer this. I want to decide what I want my business, what my life to look like in a year. When you're working and you're developing a career, you have a network. there are resources and there are people that you've worked with, and so many people that actually, even friends and families that actually use your gifts. And sometimes you don't realize the talents and the gifts that you have because you've been giving it away, and I have nieces and nephews, and it really blesses me to look at their lives, and now that most of them are millennials, and to look at that I have 7. I'm the only sibling that doesn't have children, and 7, and out of the 7, 6 of them are entrepreneurs, and so
That's amazing.
yeah, so it really blesses me, especially because I talk to them a lot, and so I actually like to see that as a legacy. And so my family and my younger sisters and I would talk about building legacy. So right now, where I'm actually working to include and incorporate wealth building as a part of my program, because and that was where the secrets of the Unconventional Millionaires came in as well, that program.
Can you tell us about that?
Oh, has been, again, it's so funny because I have, in becoming an entrepreneur, I realized, even though I started my own business, that after building it a while, you actually create another job. And so as building it, even though I was successful, I had created 6-figure business, I also was still working a lot of hours. And I didn't have the time rich freedom that I wanted. And so I realized at that point that I also needed a coach. I needed someone that was where I wanted to go. I wanted, a more time rich freedom. I wanted to schedule to be able to scale up my income without actually having to work more hours. And long story short, I found the coach for me. And so she was doing basically what I wanted to do. But she was working 30 hours a month. Who does that, right?
I know, right? Wow.
And I was like, 30 hours a month, that's unbelievable. And because I worked nonprofits most of my life, we always had small departments. So we never had enough staff. So which meant you worked a lot of hours in order to get it done. And even though it was rewarding and you're making changes, nobody want to work 60 hours a week on a regular basis. So as a result of that, I realized I needed to make that change. So the first thing I did then was to make that investment in my growth and my development by finding the right coach. And so that changed my life drastically because it gave me an opportunity to be able to see how I could scale up, and at the same time help more people and work smarter in areas that I hadn't thought about. And so as a result of that, one of the things that she had shared with us was she had created her first, when she started out, she actually created a series where she went and interviewed millionaires. And so when she said that, I found that so fascinating because, again, I like people's stories, and I think people's stories change lives. And so I thought, oh, I can do that. And I thought, well, but I don't know any millionaires. How am I going to do this? So I put it off for a minute, but it kept coming back to me because it was so fascinating. And again, I believe in being a life learner. And then I know that if I want to become a millionaire, who better to learn from as someone that had a job, created a business, and learned and became a self-made first-generation millionaire.
Absolutely.
So I decided to start looking around. And one of the things my mentor, Mia Redrick, she kept saying, she said, millionaires are givers. They love to support people. And, she was telling us, and I was like, that sounds really so easy. Is that really true? Everything she said was true. They love to if you validate them and you appreciate what they're doing and you ask them questions, they were also giving. I did not have any struggle. So I began to look around, ask friends, think about people I knew. And the key was so fascinating that these people are all around you. So I started with, I remember looking at, because as I said, I was creating a business. So I went to, I had some other coaches and classes. You take classes from different people. And so I started seeing this young man get up early in the morning on Facebook, having this free time, walking by the water. And so I was like, wow, he's got a lot of free time, but he's building a business. So I started checking him out. And Dr. Will, and as a result of that, I decided, well, he gets up early. You know what? Let me just tag him and tell him what I'm doing and see if he's interested. Well, he was my first yes. My mentor said yes first. He was my second yes. So as a result of that, actually just, watching people, looking at Facebook, thinking about the type of millionaire that I want to interview. I found, in magazines, I actually saw South African, these top 7 South African millionaires. That fascinated me too, because I had opportunity to go to South Africa, to go to Ghana. And so again, because of my nonprofit experience, I had worked with programs in Africa and Asia and different places. So again, that was fascinating. So I took the magazine cover and I went on Facebook to see if I could find a couple of these people. Sure enough, I found one of the persons and instant messenger her. And it was so funny because I got a, you instant messenger some people, and because they're important and they have their own employees and assistants, I got a thumbs down, right? And I thought, no, I don't do thumbs down. So I wrote again and I friended her. And so long story short, she said yes too. So I found that it wasn't, you had to do, you have to invest time in the type of people that you want to meet. And surprisingly, it was a lot easier than I thought. And once I started, then people started giving me recommendations. Have you thought of this person? No, I don't know that person.
That's so fun. Now, I know what that is too, because the same way for this show, you interview somebody and they say, oh, I know someone else who would be great. And so that's so cool. Yes.
Yeah. So and so what I did was I created that as a life learning course where you learn from the interviewer. We ask key questions, always about how they got started, learning from their secrets. All of them had early morning routines, learning from their routines and their habits. So those type of things that were invaluable in sharing. And at the same time, I decided to offset that and start interviewing colleagues and friends as the next generation. Because I have all these forerunners, people that are like me, they have their own business and building, and actually that's one of their goals, that they're actually going to, grow, build wealth and grow. And so I started interviewing them also as a learning curve for my clients, to not only learn from millionaires, but also to look at yourself as the next generation. So what does that mean in terms of your planning, your future, your education, your mindset? Because mindset is king. And that was, I think, what's so great about interviewing these people. They were from different walks of life. Some had been incarcerated. So it wasn't, a foster kid, single, married. The range was wide.
Wonderful. So what we're going to do now is we're going to transition into my segment called Who Said That? Where I'll give you a quote and a clue. You get one guess. And if you're able to tell me who said that, I will donate a modest amount to the charity of your choice.
Okay. Put on my thinking cap.
Awesome. So do you have a charity in mind?
Yes. I work with Kids of Hope, with Dr. Hokie.
I know her. She's been on the show.
Yes, she has. And I'm on her board, and we're working on supporting, especially those kids that are opt out and you know sometimes end up homeless. So yes, Kids of Hope. Yes, Kids of Hope would be yes.
Fantastic. And so the quote is, live like no one else so you can live like no one else.
Oh my goodness.
Live like no one else.
Live like no one else.
So you can live like no one else. And would you like the clue?
Yes, because I heard that one.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites from this person. And this person is an American personal finance advisor, radio show host, author, and businessman. He is an evangelical Christian and hosts a nationally syndicated radio show. He's written several books, including the New York Times bestseller, The Total Money Makeover, and hosted a television show on Fox Business from 2007 to 2010.
Oh my gosh, I know this one. Oh my
I know you know this one.
Oh my gosh, and it is not coming. Oh my goodness, I know who that is. Oh, Les Brown.
No,
that's not Les Brown.
Well, you gave us your guess, but the answer is actually Dave Ramsey.
Oh yes, I could not think of his name. I was trying to see his face. Oh wow, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I've donated to Kids of Hope before. Actually, when Oki was on here, she did not get hers correct either. But I believe.
I'll tell her I tried to raise money for her.
Tell her I'll still send a donation of support because I know the both of you and I know the good work you're doing. But don't feel bad. Yeah, you're not the only one who's not gotten there.
Oh my gosh.
Before. Do you have any final words?
So one of the things I think that I would say to folks that are interested in creating a business or want to do what you love and make it a part of your lifestyle, look at what you do and what your family and your friends and people that pull from you, what do they say? What transformation do you give and develop for them? And you'll sometimes find the answers to creating or shifting your life in a way that you do what you love and you make money doing it.